Yeah, well, folks, it is true that the C programming language may not have a built-in function to concatenate arrays of integers, but that's just because the language was developed by programmers who were extremely experienced with the keyboard and preferred to build in all the tools in the C programming language to DIY everything. You see, with C, there's always a way to roll up your sleeves and build what you need yourself. And of course, if you are a programmer, you are probably used to making things from scratch anyway. Like a handyman who builds their own furniture, a programmer builds their own functions. So when it comes to concatenating arrays of integers, grab your virtual hammer and saw and let's go to work. So I prepared here a simple program where we will do all the job on our own. And before we can start to concatenate integer arrays, we first need to produce some, and we do so. Our array number 1 is an array which we will assign already some values, let's say 1, 2, 3. And if we do so, we can make use of the ability to copy all the stuff here, copy, paste, and then we have already our second array, and that is filled with the elements 4, 5, 6. And now for concatenating that, we will need the size of our arrays. So here they are both of 3 elements, but that is not necessarily the case. So first of all, we want to create store the size of our arrays into integers. Our integer n1 will hold the size of our array 1, and we have to divide that by the size of a single element in that array, and for that we use the array element number 0, and that will give us the number of elements of that array. And also here we do the same job by copy paste for the second array. So here size of array, due to the fact they need to be of the same type, this here should work the same way, but to keep everything tidy, we do it this way. So if we have it here already, then at least we want also to output our array, and we do that with some simple for loops here. So this is for loop number 1, goes through with an I, an index to the end, or over the number of elements in our array, and here it outputs one after another. I spared here the curlies because you can do so if you really have only one and really only one statement here for the for loop. And here I do the same thing again for element or array number 2. Maybe this makes it some more clear what's going on here. And this should be a program we can already run and execute. I just build and run, and as you see, it outputs our 2 arrays 1 to 3, or the elements of our arrays 4, 5, 6. So far so good. We need also some integer array of the correct size, which will hold our concatenated array. And for that, we create as an integer result. And of course, we need to give it a size. And we know now that the complete size will be n1 plus n2. So that's so far easy peasy. What we want to do now is to concatenate that. For that, we will write as a simple function. As I said before, it's relatively easy if you give your function the right header. In this case, I just put it up. I'm not working here with some special signature or something. We just put it here by void. We don't want to return anything from our function because that's totally not needed. We want directly concatenate into our result. You will see how that works. And our name for is concatenate. Could have a better name because here it's not clear that we are concatenating integer arrays only, but what it receives is an integer array 1, and it also is possible that it takes as an argument an integer array 2. And important here to see is that array 1 and array 2 here are different ones than in our main function. They share the same identifier here, but they are in different spaces used. So what we also need is an int n1 and an int n2. What will be handled over to our little function here. What else we need? We need to give to our function an integer array result. So also that result, and also that is an array, because there we will put in the whole stuff eventually. So that is all we need so far. And within our function, we need two simple values. And we declare them I and j. Very straightforward, because we now need to loop over our two arrays which are handled in as arguments. And we do so, of course, with the for loop. For loop number 1 goes from I and starts with a 0. So from the first element on, as long I is less than n1, so from the beginning of the array to the end of the array, we want to make a little loop. And also here I will spare the curlies and just write that in our result, at exactly where I started and so on, we will write at the index I, so not 0, but I, at index I, we will write from our first array, from array 1, element number I. So far. That is really easy what you need to do here. You loop just over the array and write into I each element by element. And the same thing we will do now for, first I want to put here something in. So the same thing we will do for j, and with j we will do that for the second array. So we can recycle here some code, and we go to the end of n2, of course, so the end of the second array over the length of the array, and we add not to I the result, but to I plus j, and we add not an element from A1 but from A2 and the jth element. That is all already. So if we now have an concatenate, then we also want to use it in our main program to concatenate the content. So I paste that in here just to have the right values, and what I need to handle over now is array 1. That is my part number 1. Then I need to give the array number 2. I need to give n1. I need to give n2. And where I want to store the result in, I want to store my result in result. And here you need to take care. You need to make sure that this size here matches exactly what happens in concatenate later with the two arrays. So if you mess up here, then you will have a problem when using concatenate. So if we do so, we do this to call our little function, and here we double check here quickly if we have done everything syntactically right. Seems so for me at least. Afterwards, we also want to output our brand new result, and we do so with a for loop again and a simple statement. Here, paste with printf, the concatenated array, and here with a little loop we output all elements of result. Here the size is just n1 plus n2, because we know the result will have a length of the path n1 and n2, or f of array 1 and array 2. And if we run this, it should already give us the correct result. I hope it works. Build and run. Seems that I missed here something. Maybe open the bracket, or I have a look. Yeah, of course I messed up here in our concatenate, because this we don't need at all. And here we can also make it look some better. So in this case, this way it should work. Now here this curlies is matching this curlies. Second try, build and run. So here's another problem, because obviously I forgot here the semicolon, and build and run again. It starts to become boring, but now you see this did not work. We check quickly where the problem is, but the values here already give us a hint. That looks like really weird values which have nothing to do with our code. But that is always a hint that there went something wrong when concatenating the stuff. Obviously, our result is filled with totally strange values, which maybe come from some wrong place, and that wrong place usually comes when the assignment here is wrong. And here I can see that I made a mistake here. I went through from 0 to bigger than n2, and that is of course wrong. I don't need to be greater than, we need to be less than and less than n2 to properly iterate over our two arrays and add them up in result. So maybe also this we can make some nicer and run again. So that looks by far better, but you can already see how you have to take care to check out your code for working, and if you copy paste something, then if there is a mistake in the source, then also there's a mistake in the origin. But usually from the result you can already see or get a hint what is going wrong there. Here our arrays 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6 are concatenated into one array with 6 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the code we wrote now here is really simple, yet effective implementation of a function in the C programming language to concatenate two arrays of integers. The function named concatenate takes two arrays, array 1 and array 2, and their sizes n1 and n2, and an array result which will be used to store the concatenated values. The implementation of the function is straightforward and well structured. It first copies the element of array 1 into result here, and then using a for loop and an assignment operator, then it copies the element of array after them, again using a for loop, and the use of I and j as loop variables ensures that the element of both arrays are correctly copied into the result, as long you use the right operators here, the comparison operators. And the main function here provides the demonstration of how to concatenate functions can be used. It creates two arrays of integers, array 1 and array 2, and computes their sizes, creates a result array with enough space to hold both, and calls concatenate function to combine the arrays. Finally, it uses another loop here to print the elements of the result array to show the concatenated values. Yeah. In conclusion, this code is simple, straightforward example of how to concatenate two arrays of integers in C. While there may be more efficient or sophisticated ways to achieve that goal, this implementation is easy to understand and provides a solid foundation for writing your own functions in C. By understanding this code, you can gain deeper understanding of how functions work in C and how to use them to solve real-world problems.